Kick this off now. So, hi, it's Richard from the Homeschool Freedom Club, and this is another interview in the series, just talking to parents about how they got into home education and how once in it, how they're making an income whilst being at home with their children. So, I'm joined with joined by Anna today, who's joining from the beautiful eastern side of England, East Anglia. So, Anna, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Hi. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's lovely to be here.
I'd just love to find out just a little bit more about you. So you live you're saying in Norfolk.
Yeah.
So what's your family situation? How many kids do you have?
So I live in beautiful Norfolk, which is where I grew up. I'm married and I have two children. So I have a son who is 10 and a little girl who, well, she's 5, almost likes to remind me she's almost 6. She's a couple of months till her sixth birthday. She's been talking about birthday plans since her last birthday. So yeah, so 2 children. No,
I know what you mean about the excitement. Elsa started singing Jingle Bells already.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we left Jingle Bells in December. To be fair, I think it's just an all year round thing for us.
That's the bit of excitement. And your husband, does he work sort of full time?
So he works locally for a medical devices company. So he works full time, and I'm home. I'm home with the children. Predominantly, so home ed is predominantly led by me.
Yeah.
He obviously is involved, but obviously he works full time, whilst I work. Got a couple of different hats actually. So my background is in the NHS. So the UK health system, for anybody who obviously watches this outside the UK. And I've been a pharmacist in the NHS for a long time, for over a decade. But I stepped away from a permanent role about I think it was 3 years ago now. So now I work on a sort of bank only, so 0 hours type contract, ad hoc hours type contract
Okay.
with my local hospital. So I'm able to pick up sort of work flexibly around the family. So that's been really key.
And what led you into home educating? How long have you been doing it for?
So we've always been home ed. So let's say my son is 10, so he's always been at home. So both the children have. What led us into it? I actually the first person was a very dear friend of mine, who was my doula. I had a doula at both of my children's births, who
Yeah.
is a really dear friend of mine, and she's a home educator of 5 children. Her youngest being the same age as my eldest.
Yeah.
And it was her that actually kind of stepped me into the world of home ed. It was sort of on my radar, I think. I'm not really sure. I can't really tell you whether I
Yeah.
would have chosen it, but she opened my eyes to it as an option. And then it just became, as sort of time went on, and I was sort of reading obviously more about child development and just that desire for them to learn through play for
Yeah.
much longer.
Yes.
We send children to school really early in the UK. And so it was that desire to allow them to learn through play for much longer, which was what kind of got us going.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gone from there. Obviously my son got that bit older, and there was always that possibility. So we sort of were following the sort of Scandinavian model of sort of formal education starting that much later, sort of 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But it got to 7 or 8, and we're like, actually, this is working, and it's
Yeah.
working well, and we enjoy it. So it kind of went from there, really. So it started off as that philosophy, but has kind of persisted from there, gone on from there.
Let's say my wife's from Russia, and she was really shocked at how early kids start school. Because again, it's more like the Scandinavian system in Russia. They don't start till they're around 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just couldn't believe. And our little boy, he did 2 terms at school until COVID hit, and
Yeah.
he was 4, and then he never went back after that. But they look so tiny, don't they, when they're
They
that?
do, yeah,
It's
they
just,
do.
and it just seems ridiculous that we do send them in. When you sort of step and you look at it from the outside a bit more, it just seems absurd that we do that.
Yeah, it is crazy. And especially the little ones who are sort of summer born. Like my little girl is born in April, so she's not fully summer born, but she is later in the school year.
Yeah,
And it does make a big difference.
huge.
I think depending on, if you've got a little one who's just turned 4 in August and then is in a classroom, that's massive difference compared to almost turning 5 when they start. Like yeah.
It's kind of a whole sort of 20% of a lifetime extra, isn't it? It's just,
Exactly. And they, as we know, they develop so much, don't they, so quickly in those
oh,
early years. So,
and both mine are summer. My son's July, my daughter's August. So yeah,
mm.
it's
So yeah, would have been
really,
crazy.
really young. And so you were saying, because you were saying you worked as a pharmacist for a long time. So how did you work that around like the home education then?
So in the early years we I worked part time. So I worked sort of two days at the hospital and a half day from home. My husband then worked he did his full-time hours but in 4 days. So he worked a long day, had the children for one day, and then we had a nanny for a day and a half for a while before COVID, which worked well. That we had her after I went back after my maternity leave with my daughter. We had her for a while, and yeah, that worked well. But even then, I could see it worked well in the early years, but I could see in time I wanted to be home more, to
Yeah,
be answering the millions of questions, and just to be present, just to be
yeah,
present for them, and to I could see obviously as my son was getting older, to where his interests were going to perhaps need me to be working alongside him a little bit more and supporting him with stuff. So I wanted to be around a bit more, and there was groups and activities. We're really blessed here, where we are in the UK. We have a really thriving homemade community here, and so there were groups and things they wanted to try on days that I was at work, and so it didn't quite give the flexibility that we needed really. And like a longer term, I could see it was gonna be a problem. So yeah, I could sort of made so I made so that's why I made the leap to the sort of more flexible bank hours.
yeah. And I mean, outside of working with the pharmacy, do you do anything additional to that? Do you have like a business on the side or anything like that?
Yeah, so yes, I have a business as well on the side. So I am a partner with a company called Utility Warehouse, who are UK based. They're a multi-service home services provider. So it sounds really dull, but basically it's helping people to save money. That's the idea. So helping people to simplify their life admin. So we became customers of theirs when we were moving house about 7 years ago.
Yeah,
And I love the idea of having it all on one bill, saving a load of money, just one less thing to worry about when you're a busy parent. And that's kind of what I want to share with other families, basically, helping them to do the same. So yeah, so I do that alongside home ed and around my other commitments.
yeah. And I mean, how do you have some sort of like a routine that you've got into? Because again, a lot of people start looking at it and think, well, I'm full time with the kids. It's full on. I guess different children at different stages have different needs from their parents as well. And actually, I mean, ironically, we find that our 8-year-old sometimes needs us more than the 5-year-old did. Does she's
Yeah,
quite happy just to amuse
yeah,
herself and to do whatever.
same.
And he's like, Mom, Dad, da, da, da.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I,
have you found as they've got, obviously as they got older, I presume it's got a bit easier and it's enabled you to fit more things in around that.
Yeah, definitely. As they've got older, I can sort of carve out bits of time in the day, like this, talking to you, for example. A few
Yeah.
years ago, this I would have had someone at the door by now.
Yeah.
It's quite a miracle that I haven't already, to be fair. But it's yeah, as they get a bit older, I can carve out sort of pockets of time during the day when they're occupied with other things. I do set aside some evening time, where sort of yeah, my husband takes over and sort of the evening kind of routine, and I sort of carve out a bit of time, yeah, in the evenings for my business or my pharmacy work. Some of that I can do in the evenings as well. So yeah, whichever kind of hat I've got on that day,
Yeah.
yeah, I fit it in that way. But it's very much a work in progress. I think I've tried over the years to find a kind of a schedule and a timetable that we kind of fit to, but in reality that doesn't
Yeah.
work. We're quite an unschooling family. We lead with our children's interests and how we're feeling and how life's flowing at the time. So I think that's been the biggest thing for me is just learning to go with it, go with that flow a bit, and yeah, that's I've had to work on that, and something that I think will always be the case because they will continue to grow and their needs will change again, and yeah, so just kind of going with it.
No, we're the same. I mean, just we unschool, and so no 2 days ever really look
Yeah.
the same.
No.
Which it has. I mean, it's a lovely way to do it, but it can be frustrating when you've got things to do and you're looking at that to do list and thinking, oh.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, for me, I'm an early bird, so I tend to be up before everybody in the house. The kids tend to go to bed late, 9, 10 o'clock,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
about the same time that I do. So if I want to get stuff done, I just need to get it done in the morning.
Yeah.
Anything that's pressing or urgent, I just do it first time because there's no telling if during the day if I'm going to get that sort of peace and quiet to do.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you can go away. Be back in a minute. Okay. Okay. I'll be there in a minute.
Sorry, I know the feeling.
That was the 10-year-old. I was expecting the 5-year-old, but no, it's not.
But yeah, no, that happens all the time when I'm on call. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
And I don't mind it. Like I've learned to embrace it because there's that kind of
yeah,
perfectionist tendency, isn't there, that you don't want to be interrupted and whatever. But actually, I think it really is. I think it's refreshing and allows people to see the reality, especially during when we're having conversations with home ed families, showing that it can, yeah, keeping it real for sure.
yeah.
I think it's really important.
I've got my wife in here distracting me now. Not the 5-year-old. But yeah, it's true. I mean, I think again that was something else that COVID brought about, wasn't it? It was that people started working from home. And I remember I had my own event management business, and one of my clients, he was like the financial director of this big publishing house, and there were a team of freelancers, and he didn't like, when we were on calls with like committees and chairs, he didn't want any interruptions, and he would, if he was on a call with you and your kids interrupt or something, he wasn't very happy about it. And then come COVID, when he had to work at home. And he had kids at home, and he became a lot more lenient after that.
I can imagine, yeah.
He all of a sudden just sort of understood, and I think COVID really changed people's perceptions and working practices. I mean, we were saying just before how a lot more flexi working, a lot more working from home, and it's become a lot more possible for people. And again, if you can drop your own perfectionist tendencies and just embrace the madness, then it's it makes life a lot easier to actually do that. You don't have to be sat there in sort of shuttered silence. I mean, sometimes it helps, but you don't have to be, and people just accept that now.
Yeah, totally. It's good.
So
feel good.
So what's next for you today? What's
agenda? Next for me? Yeah. I can hear a crying child, so I think I might have to address that first. And then no, we've actually got quite a relaxed day today. Let's say it's got some lovely sunshine here, so I think we'll probably get outside and get some sunshine, and just sort of relaxing into the weekend. My son is in a drama group, so he's got rehearsals for his next show then. So just gonna enjoy the sun while it lasts.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, thank you ever so much for chatting to us today, Anna. I'll let you get off and sort out the crying.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care. Nice to meet you. Bye.